Greetings, everyone. Now, the thing that is buzzing is the threat, or I should say, looming, is a threat of people being deported, whether they're green card holders or even citizens to a certain extent. And people are actually thinking that these changes that are looming are about to be enacted have anything to do with immigration itself. You all don't seem to understand what exactly is happening. Now, when we hear about third world countries, a lot of people don't realize that it's created. There's no first world, second world, third world, except that one hinges on the exploitation of the other. Dominance and control, as I said in a previous video, where you have individuals who would exploit your labor and your resources and make it theirs, and then turn around and say to you that you're less than, you're beneath us. When we understand the dichotomy between rich and poor nations, then half the battle is won. So every country that is called poor is made that way because they have great resources that are often siphoned off and sent to, the satellite nations that call themselves powerful. Now, I don't want to get into all that now. I just want to say that this whole immigration thing really has nothing to do with the idea that, oh, you shouldn't be here because you don't have papers. It is the opportunity for men to be holding their phallic symbol in their hand to postulate power and dominance and control. Okay? Big boys playing with their toys. Yeah, and flexing their muscles. No, if African nations, whether in the Caribbean region or in Africa itself, understood their position as men. No, I'm not saying people who have more resources and more connection and military might cannot force their rights and their opinions and whatever it is they love to force on other people. But I'm just saying, at what point, as a nation of people, do you say, let's stand up as men? If we're not invited to the table as men, then we just won't show up. Africa is a wealthy nation. I've said it many times before. The phone you're holding in your hand, if that's what you're using to listen to this, could not be unless the materials that make it come from Africa. If you talk about human resources, when you think about the Caribbean, how many of our people for decades have gone to America? Yes, opportunities come to them, and some of them have a better life because, once again, the nations, our nation, our governments do not look out for the well being of our own people. And so they have clearly shown that they don't mind being dominated. They don't mind being, at the table as a servant for all these years. Hence, you have somebody, like this man who clearly is a narcissist, telling other men or making threats to other men, like, for example, I'm going to remove funding, I'm going to remove this, that, and the other, and other grown men in African nations crying like, oh, daddy's not going to help us anymore. Oh, daddy's threatening to take away this or that from us. When they're not looking at the power that they actually hold. And that if they were to see themselves as valuable, valuable contributors uh, to those global needs. I don't know how to put it, people. When people start standing up and saying, okay, if you think that what you're offering us is more important than what we have to offer, then okay, let's all stand off. Because people are jostling for position and want to maintain their position. But you, as a human being with God given rights to freedom, not just of speech, but of movements. When will Africans on the continent and in the diaspora realize what's going on? This is not about illegal status, or this is not about threat to say I'm going to withdraw resources. It's about strutting and trying to get the world, especially those who are resisting one world order, those who are saying, I want to have autonomy over my own position as a nation. But if you look at all the individuals who are being targeted and all the threats that are being made, they're seeing these individuals as vulnerable when they are not. That's what we have to, as human beings, start to realize, that all of us are born with power, and we need to stop. We need to refrain from relinquishing our power to other human beings. Unless we agree to come together to work as a collective for a better world, you'll always find just a few trying to continue to control the means of production, capital, body, mind, and spirit. So, for all of those African nations that are crying about relief being withdrawn, shame on you. And from the Caribbean nation that have used some of the resources that they receive to just put it in their own pocket and build themselves, shame on them. But more so, shame on the people for allowing themselves to be sitting ducks for another human being, another man just like yourself that breathes and sleeps and do all the bodily function that we have to do while we're alive. Shame on all of us, not on the one who wants to maintain their power and dominance. Shame on us for letting them do it for hundreds of years and expecting them to change. Why would you change when it's beneficial to you? Think about that in your own personal life too. Why would anyone change and be a better person to you if it benefits them to keep you as a subject or object? Just something to think about, not to cry about, to understand that things will change when you change. Can't wait for other persons to change. You have to change yourself, your mindset. You have to stand up in this and demand what is rightfully yours. Respect, freedom. We are all born with these equal rights, and we don't wait for someone to give it to us. We must take it. Do you understand that? Hopefully, you get my gist. It's nothing about immigration and all that stuff. It's to make sure you come in accordance with the plans for the future. Stay blessed, everyone.